So we're your physician assistant students for today, and we're just going to go over what we think might be going on with you and your health.
Yes.
So what we think is that you might have neurofibromatosis. Basically what that is, it's a big word, but it means it's a genetic disorder that causes tumors to form on your nerve tissues. So the tumors can develop anywhere on your nervous system, and that includes your brain, your spinal cord, or just your nerves in all over your body. And basically, it is diagnosed usually as a child or in your early adulthood, like teen years and early adulthood. And there's three different types of it, and the three different types affect what you're going to go through basically with the condition. So type 1 is usually in kids. Type 2 is a rarer one, and it progresses more slowly, and it originates in your ears. So they're called acoustic neuromas, and that's kind of what causes the neurofibromatosis. And then the last type is a really rare one. It's called schwannomatosis, and it's not really well understood, but that also involves tumors in your skull, and they grow on your spinal and peripheral nerves.
Yes. So type 1 neurofibromatosis presents with signs and symptoms that are often evident at birth and continue to appear throughout childhood. So the symptoms are often mild to moderate, and the condition is usually diagnosed by the age of 10. 15% of patients have debilitating symptoms, and 50% have speech problems, learning disabilities, or seizures as well. So in type 2 neurofibromatosis, signs and symptoms generally appear in the late teen and early adult years, like in your 20s, and they can vary in severity. So the symptoms arise from acoustic neuromas in the ears, and patients may develop tumors that grow on the cranial nerve 8. Symptoms are usually present in the early teen years as well. And schwannomatosis occurs in people after the age of 20 and causes tumors to develop on the skull, spinal, and peripheral nerves, but not on the vestibulocochlear nerve, like in type 2.
All right, so because this is a genetic type of disorder, there's a little bit of genetic background here. So you have your genotype and your phenotype. Genotype basically just means your DNA, like your chromosomes, and phenotype is what you're going to see as a result of the DNA, like the effects of what the DNA has on your body. So they vary for the different types, and they vary among different people. So type 1 usually presents with more than 6 cafe au lait spots, so they're just like larger brown colored, like coffee creamy colored spots on your body. And also, so with those brown spots, also freckling in the armpits and in your groin area. There's often times we see soft bumps that are present under the skin, or on nerve tissue itself, which is a little bit harder to see, and they're called neurofibromas. And there could also be tumors on the optic nerve, and the patient can struggle with vision and learning disabilities. So as it progresses, those might be things that could occur. And usually seen in people or kids who are short stature and have a larger head size than normal. Type 2 symptoms include gradual hearing loss. So like I said, it was the acoustic neuroma, so this involves your ears. So there's hearing loss, ringing in your ears. You can have balance issues and headaches. And as the disease will progress, patients can experience partial or total deafness. So you could lose your hearing in general. And you can have facial nerve damage, problems with your vision, small benign tumors that will come up on your skin, and weakness and numbness in your extremities. And then for schwannomatosis, the symptoms there are mostly just pain, weakness, numbness. You feel like numb and weak in your body, and you might have some atrophy and loss of muscle. So basically type 1 and type 2 come from that genetic chromosomal gene mutation, and schwannomatosis is not really well understood. There's like genes that are thought to maybe cause it, but they're not completely found yet.
So carriers of NF typically present with the physical symptoms that were just mentioned above. However, what usually happens to make patients realize something is wrong with them is that the presence of neurological problems like learning issues or not thinking clearly. So vision problems, skeletal problems, and issues with puberty or other hormonal periods occur in patients with neurofibromatosis.
And so the disease can either be an inherited disorder, or it could be a product of a gene mutation, so more random, or it could come from your family. So type 1 and type 2 are both caused by different abnormal gene mutations that can be inherited from your parents, or it could be from a mutation that happens when you're still a fetus in the egg and sperm, so like in fertilization. Neurofibromatosis is considered an autosomal dominant disorder, and for type 1, it's a gene mutation on chromosome 17, and on type 2, it's for chromosome 22. So with type 1 for chromosome 17, that mutates a gene that allows your cells to control their growth and proliferation. So because the gene's mutated, uncontrolled growth happens, and that gene or that protein that it affects is called neurofibromin. And the same type of thing happens with chromosome 22, but that is called the protein's called Merlin. So a child has a 50% chance that they'll develop neurofibromatosis if one of their parents has it, and the severity of the symptoms might be different than the parents or the same as the parents. Then, just a little bit more information, the National Institute of Health reported that the exact location was that chromosome 17, and for type 2 it was on 22. So we do have it narrowed down in terms of what genes are being affected, and that can help us in terms of treatment and monitoring the disease. Research is going on with that to locate additional genes that might play a role, and that can help us in terms of in utero and figuring it out earlier than when it presents later in childhood. And that's important because if we can find it earlier, then we'll be able to understand these abnormalities and kind of control them a little better before fetal development progresses and cognitive and learning disabilities may develop in a child. So more research is being done. However, it's not completely understood yet.
So the resources and websites that we thought were really helpful were the Neurofibromatosis Network Northeast. That can be found at www.nfincne.org. So the support page is based in Massachusetts and seems to be to have a very extensive list of services to assist people struggling with neurofibromatosis. These services include funding research, helping patients find doctors, fundraising for families, offering information on medical advancements and treatments, and more. And they have a camp for children who suffer from NF, and they have a newsletter to keep patients and their families up to date on relevant information about their disease. So this seems to be an amazing support group for the Northeast United States community. However, it does seem a little broad in the states it encompasses. It only covers the upper northeastern states. However, it seems to be one of the largest neurofibromatosis support systems available on the internet.
Yeah. So there is information on the topic. We are here to work with you, and then we'll hook you up with some support systems as well and get it all under control. But we're going to do some more tests and figure out exactly what is going on with your neurofibromatosis that we suspect, and we're going to figure this out together.
We are here to help you. Have a great day.